For those who stretch their imaginations, who envision a future where technology serves the greater good, their mission is our mission. At Lockheed Martin, we never forget who we're working for.
Looks like an ordinary city. We know what we'll see on these streets, inside these walls, or so we think. The people living in this apartment building are surrounded by things they can't see. All of us are, everywhere. Things too slow for our eyes to detect, or too fast to follow. By things that can be seen only through light waves invisible to us. A day in their lives would look a lot different if they could see all the light waves around them. Or see other worlds around us that are too small, microscopic. Or smaller yet, down to the heart of matter itself. Imagine if for one day we could see what they can't. All that's too slow, too fast, too small are simply invisible. It would forever change our understanding of the planet we live on. On this day, we'll see beyond the limits of human vision. Normally, we see light waves that bounce off objects. They beam into our eyes and onto our retina at the back of our eye, where an upside-down and backward image appears. It's turned into electrical impulses that race to the brain. Which allows us to see what we need to survive. But there's a lot we miss. We only see the rainbow of light waves called visible light. But that's just a fraction of the millions of wavelengths in the vast electromagnetic spectrum. Some of this invisible light has waves longer than the rainbows, such as infrared, microwaves, and radio waves. Others are shorter, including ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma. These waves radiate from the sun, space, from everything around us. On the rooftop, there are creatures that can see other light waves. A bee can view the world through ultraviolet light. It can see UV markings on flowers that guide bees and other pollinators right to their pollen. All of this is invisible to you. You just see a bee feeding on nectar. Even a mosquito has an advantage over you. Through infrared vision, it can see the heat patterns on your body. Warmer spots means more blood near the surface. We have cameras that can see like a mosquito, revealing what's hot and what's not. The brighter something looks, the hotter it is. Some wavelengths can pass right through objects. Wonder what's going on inside the apartment building? Gamma rays can show you. With X-ray vision, you could see an egg hidden within a quail. The mechanics of an animal in motion. And what's going on inside anyone's body. Radio waves can also pass through us. An MRI can use them, along with magnetic energy, to show your heart beating. The more invisible light waves we can see, the more secrets we uncover about the world around us. But that's only the beginning. Some things happen too slowly for our eyes. In the 1930s, an amateur scientist in Chicago wanted to see how flowers move. John Nash Ott had the idea of shooting a single frame of film at regular intervals, 15 minutes apart. By projecting the pictures at the normal speed of movies, 24 frames per second, Ott saw that flowers move dramatically as they react to light. He also had some fun. We call it time-lapse photography. And through it, we discover movement where our eyes see none. we can see how organisms emerge and grow. How a vine survives by creeping from the forest floor to reach the sunlight. A passionflower vine tosses its tendrils like a grappling hook, wrenches itself up, and throws open its sun-catching blossom. We can see living things decompose. Providing resources that allow new life to flourish. Dead matter can be food for slime molds, among the simplest life forms. Time-lapse shows that they are constantly on the move. One slime mold is astonishingly complex. When individual cells run out of food, they group together and form stalks with spores at the top. The spores can be picked up by the wind or passers-by and carried to a place with more food. On a grander scale, time-lapse allows us to see our planet in motion. We can view not only the vast sweep of nature, but the restless movement of humanity. Each streaking dot represents a passenger plane. By turning air traffic data into time-lapse imagery, we can see something that's above us constantly, but invisible. The vast network of air travel over the United States. We can do the same thing with ships at sea. Turn data into a time-lapse view. Decades of data give us a view of our entire planet as a single organism, sustained by currents circulating through the sea, by moisture and warmth swirling through the atmosphere, pulsing with lightning, adorned by the aurora borealis. It may be the ultimate time-lapse image, the anatomy of Earth brought to life. At the other extreme of time, there are things that happen too fast for our eyes. But we have technology to see that world too.
Introducing Dr. Harold E. Edgerton of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. His stroboscope light, my friends, is really something. And it's put the super in super speed photography. While normally film runs through the average movie camera at 90 feet a minute, Edgerton's flicker box can handle 125 feet a second. In normal speed movies, a bullet shot from the muzzle of a high-powered air gun is invisible. Now Edgerton really photographs a bullet in flight. Watch it come in from the left. Here, fascinating patterns of movement. And when you recall that all the action of this bulb smashing actually took place in the fraction of a second, you realize that here is speed in movie photography, indeed.
High-speed cameras do the opposite of time-lapse. They shoot images thousands or even millions of times faster than our vision. When played back at 24 images per second, they show us remarkable things we normally miss. When you see drops hit the water, here's what you don't see. Every drop bounces like a ball, held together by surface tension. It continues to get smaller and smaller. This happens every time a raindrop hits a puddle. A 100 times every second, lightning strikes somewhere on Earth. Little was known about lightning till high-speed cameras turned the research upside down. Literally. What our eyes see is energy flowing downward from the clouds. Now we can see that electricity also moves upward from the ground. If we can see lightning bolts, we can see almost anything that's lightning fast. When a dragonfly flutters by, you may not realize it's the greatest flyer in nature. It can hover, fly backwards, and even upside down. No one knew the secret. But high speed shows that a dragonfly can move all four wings in different directions at the same time. No aircraft can do this. If we can see how nature's ingenious devices work, we can imitate them. By tracking markers on an insect's wings, we can visualize the airflow they produce. What we learn could lead us to new kinds of robotic flyers that expand our vision of important events in remote places. How many secrets remain to be discovered in the super-fast worlds of nature? We move through the landscape like giants, unaware of the wonders too small for us to see. Long ago, we noticed that a glass sphere made things appear larger. Grinding it down into a lens magnified objects even more. Stacking lenses in a tube greatly multiplied the effect, and the compound microscope was born. It let us peer into a world we'd never seen before. Suddenly, we could see creatures in common pond water that we didn't even know existed. But there is a limitation to the compound microscope. We can't see down into the scales of the butterfly's wing because visible light waves are too big. Everything smaller goes out of focus. We needed a microscope that used something smaller than visible light. The scanning electron microscope fires electrons, smaller than atoms, creating an image that magnifies things by as much as 1,000,000 times. It shows that deep inside the tiny scales of a butterfly's wing are even smaller structures, which are shaped to reflect only pure blue light waves, giving the wings of a morpho butterfly one of the most brilliant blues in nature. The electron microscope reveals things both bizarre and beautiful. Guess what this is? A butterfly egg. The skin of a shark. A caterpillar's mouth. eye of a fruit fly. An eggshell. A tomato stem. A flea. A snail's tongue. We think we know most of the animal kingdom, but there may be millions of tiny species waiting to be discovered. Even the air we breathe is full of unseeable stuff. Pollen, skin flakes, insect parts, animal hairs. There's even matter from space, including microdiamonds and jewels from other planets and supernova explosions. 30,000 tons of space dust falls to the Earth every year. Some of it is in every breath inhaled by all the living things on Earth, including you. And it gets even more personal. There are unseen creatures living all over your body, possibly including mites that spend their entire lives dwelling on your eyelashes, crawling with their 8 legs over your skin at night. They're on some of you right now. When you're unlucky enough to get a case of head lice, this is what's living in your hair. More than 1,000 strains of bacteria could be in your belly button. This is what causes stinky feet. Some 32 million bacteria live on your skin. Most of them harmless, or even good for you. There are far more organisms living on you than there are people on Earth. It turns out that the world of the really small is full of clever things we can use. The surface of a lotus leaf repels almost any liquid. A super close look reveals the secret. Tiny hair-like bumps that cause drops to roll right off the leaf. Maybe we could mimic this, making a coating to shield airplanes from ice buildup. Once, it was a mystery how a gecko could walk up smooth glass. Gecko feet are covered by 500,000 tiny bristles that branch into split ends, each with a pad on the tip. The structures build up an electrical charge that attracts them to the surface, adding up to incredible sticking power, and a model for a new kind of robot that could climb almost anything. A spider also harbors secrets. Spider silk thread is pound for pound stronger than steel, and yet completely elastic. Imagine what we might build if we could produce a synthetic version. The first step is getting a closer look at spider silk. The journey could take us all the way down to what we call the nano world. The silk is 100 times thinner than a human hair. On it, there's bacteria. Near the bacteria, 10 times smaller, a virus. Inside that, 10 times smaller, 3 strands of its DNA. And nearing the limit of our most powerful microscopes, single carbon atoms. 4 of them are the size of 1 nanometer. Welcome to the nano world. This incomprehensibly small place is the new frontier. Exploring it will lead to huge changes in our lives. Our most advanced microscopes can now see this. Individual atoms, though fuzzy, proving years of scientific theory simulated here. And not only can we see them, with the tip of a powerful microscope, we can actually move atoms and begin to create amazing nano devices. Some could one day patrol your body for all kinds of diseases and clean out clogged arteries along the way. Tiny chemical machines of the future may even repair DNA. One of the wildest things about the nano world, substances here behave differently than the same material does in our world. To us, gold is golden in color. But nano gold can be any color. It absorbs light and generates heat, leading to an idea. Injecting nano-sized gold particles into the bloodstream, which are chemically coated to attach to cancerous cells. An incoming laser beam heats the gold particles, burning the cells. The promise of nano goes beyond medicine. Another material with far different nano properties is carbon. The same breakable stuff found in pencil lead. At the nanoscale, it has mind-boggling strength. With it, we've created the world's thinnest material, graphene, 1 carbon atom thick. It's harder than diamonds, but nearly as flexible as rubber. Turned into a roll, it's called a carbon nanotube, one of the strongest and lightest materials on Earth. With it, we could one day make things we can only dream about today. It may even be possible to use carbon nanotubes to build an elevator to space. We are on the threshold of extraordinary advances, born of our drive to see all that's hidden in the world around us. On a summer evening, under an endless rain of cosmic dust, the air full of pollen and skin flakes, and bits of everything on Earth, people go about their lives surrounded by the unseeable. knowing there's much more around us than we can see forever changes our understanding of the world. Who knows what waits to be seen? What new wonders will transform our lives? We will just have to see.